Americans are feeling more confident about the job market. A new survey shows Americans feel they could find a new job if necessary. The survey, conducted by a research organization at the University of Chicago, found that 54% said it would be somewhat or very easy to find a job if they lost theirs. And as layoffs decline, fewer people, 11%, fear losing their job. That's down from 16% just 2 years ago.
Our next guest says jobs growth is being propped up artificially. He's Gary Burnison, CEO of Korn Ferry International, a leading employment firm. Mr. Burnison, welcome. Good to have you with us. You heard the report that Susie just had about confidence in job security rising. Are Americans justified in feeling more confident about their jobs?
Well, I would say that it is improved, but it's not improving. And, I think there are a lot of Americans that are hurting. And if you're one of the air traffic controllers, it's certainly you're not better off today. I spent 4 hours on Monday at Los Angeles International Airport and ended up not taking the flight because it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. But this is a Nike swoosh, and unfortunately the swoosh part has kind of tapered off.
Well, I thought it was also interesting in the survey, Gary, that it depends on who you are. If you have a college degree, a little more optimistic. If you have a high school degree or maybe less education, not so optimistic. So what are you seeing in terms of the types of people looking for jobs? What's been your experience?
Well, that's exactly right. That's the way out for this country. Education determines a worker's earnings for life. And so generally speaking, the more education you have, the better your chances are moving between industries and jobs, and we're certainly seeing that today.
You say that among the things that are affecting job growth are two factors. One, low interest rates, and the other, the money that has been pumped into the economy through QE, the quantitative easing, the money that's being pumped in by the Federal Reserve. So you think that the job growth we've seen is rather artificial. What would it take to transition from what you describe as artificial job growth to more enduring real job growth?
Well, look, we're all sitting around the punch bowl and it's spiked. It's spiked with incredibly low interest rates, but guess what? Try to go out there and get a loan if you're a small company. It's still very, very difficult to be able to do that. And if you're a CEO today, you are going to be cautious. You're not going to hire then innovate. You're going to innovate and then hire. And just look at the big companies that have reported over the last couple of weeks. There's a consistent theme, and that is the top line is not growing, and people are, squeezing profits out of the bottom line. And there's this real fight for growth today. And so what has to change? The consumer has to come back, and we have to export America to other places.
Let's talk a little bit about where the jobs are. We always hear that healthcare is recession-proof, so lots of jobs in healthcare. We know that. But what other areas are you seeing job growth where people can get jobs?
Oil. Oil is big, and it's going to be big over the next couple decades. That's one. Social media and this fight to go out and drive borderless consumption, to sell things through the internet is huge. So in the technology area, social media area, as you said, health services, it's 20% of this economy in a few years, and oil. Those are all really hot right now.
Are we in some ways, Mr. Burnison, the victim of our own technology? In other words, that we're able to do things so much more efficiently. I think of a toy factory I visited not long ago that formerly was sending the jobs overseas, but now because of robotics and other things, they can bring the jobs back. There are just fewer of them.
We're totally a victim of our own success. I can remember growing up in the 60s looking at this TV wristwatch, right? Dick Tracy. And guess what? We're here. We're talking about wearable computers, Google eyeglasses where you don't even have to communicate. That is absolutely right. And we're in this 2-decade transition from this heartland, middle America manufacturing economy to this real innovative service-based economy. And that's what we're going to go through, for the rest of this decade for sure.
Mr. Burnison, thank you very much for being with us. Gary Burnison is CEO of Korn Ferry International.